Judges ready? Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Hunter Boschert, and I would like to say good afternoon, everyone, and we'll get started. So today, I'm going to talk to you about a very controversial topic that sometimes does not get brought up in the classroom setting or a setting as this. Today, we're going to talk about stem cells and stem cell research. Now, in high school, in my senior year, I was in 3 AP classes, and in these 3 AP classes, I had to do a 3-part AP project at the end of the year. So I decided to focus on stem cell research in my AP biology class. So, let's get started. Before we get too far into the presentation today, I want you to first off erase your mind of the negative things you've heard about stem cells, and I want you to imagine one scenario. I want you to imagine that you or a loved one has just been diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. This disease has no cure, and you don't have many options, and unfortunately, your time is limited. Now, I want you by the end of this presentation to take in some of the examples I give you today and maybe think stem cells may be an answer for me. So before we get into the presentation, I want to make sure everybody knows exactly what a stem cell is. A stem cell is a cell in the body. It's found in various tissues, and it's found in bones. And what they do is they reproduce indefinitely. Now, and that keeps the tissue and bones healthy. Now, when something happens to that reproductive process, that's when things start to change. That's when diseases form, and that's when the body starts to underperform. Now, according to many hospitals, such as the Boston Children's Hospital, stem cells are what is known as the master cell. And when something goes wrong, something has to be changed. Now, there are 2 categories of stem cells today. There's undifferentiated stem cells, and then there's differentiated stem cells. Undifferentiated stem cells can be extracted and placed in the host body, and wherever they are placed, they will start to reproduce indefinitely, automatically, not a problem. Now, a differentiated stem cell is a little bit different. It's extracted from a body, placed in the new host body, and must perform the same exact job in order to reproduce and replicate. The first type of stem cell we're going to talk about today is the embryonic stem cell. Now, as we all know, this is the most controversial type of stem cell. Embryonic stem cells do have many advantages, though. For one advantage is that when they're removed, they can be placed in the body, they're undifferentiated, meaning we can place them anywhere and they will start to reproduce indefinitely, automatically. No question about it, no problem. However, one disadvantage about embryonic stem cells is that we have to remove them from an embryo. Once the stem cells are removed from the embryo is no longer good. It's no longer alive. However, according to stemcell.gov, embryonic stem cells are usually removed from leftovers embryos from in vitro. So once a woman goes through her in vitro process, she may have 10 eggs fertilized. Well, if she goes in for her first session and they implant 2 eggs and they take, the 8 are discarded. Nothing's ever done with them. We can remove stem cells from them and use those stem cells in other host bodies that need them. But I know that's scary to many people, removing stem cells from embryos, and I completely understand. So today I'm going to show you 2 alternatives to this method. The first alternative is what we call an adult stem cell. Now, a great advantage to an adult stem cell is that it's removed from an adult body. It's just a simple procedure. You can go in and you can donate stem cells from various parts of your body, various tissues, and various bones. Now, yes, some procedures do hurt more than others. I will give you that. But it's a pretty simple process. And also an advantage to adult stem cells is if they're placed correctly in the new host body cell, it's almost immediately effective. But there is a disadvantage. Adult stem cells, they're differentiated, meaning that job in them is already encoded. So if we remove an adult stem cell from a body, and let's say it's in a muscle cell, it must be implanted in the muscle cell in the host body in order for it to take and start replicating automatically and indefinitely. Now, this third type of stem cell I'm going to tell you about today, this is a breakthrough in technology. It's a science technology that we never thought we would come to. This is what we call a pluripotent stem cell, or it's also known as an induced pluripotent stem cell. Now, the great thing about this stem cell is that it's an adult stem cell. But what makes it different, and as you can see in the picture, you can see dots without strings attached. That means this stem cell, this adult stem cell, is now undifferentiated. Now, how did we do that? Through chemical processes in labs, it is able to replicate or redo the chemical composition of the stem cell and make it undifferentiated. That means we just removed an adult stem cell from an adult body, reorganized its composition, and now it can be placed anywhere in a host cell, and it can replicate automatically indefinitely. It's a major breakthrough in science technology. However, there are some disadvantages with this. The first disadvantage is that this process is very expensive. And if you prefer this route, it's going to cost you more in medical bills in the long term. Also, this process is very underfunded. As I said before, many people have negative connotations when it comes to stem cell research and stem cells. So not much government funding is provided to stem cells. And before Proposition 71 in California was passed, there was no government funding in the United States for stem cell research at all. So, according to Serum, which is the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine, which was formed after Proposition 71, this process is just very underfunded. So they're trying to combat that also. And this is in its developmental stages still. This technique was only found about 3 years ago. And as we know, 3 years in the science field, that's not a very long time. Now, the final disadvantage to this is, however, is that this process does take some time to complete. According to EuroStemCell, which is the leading stem cell laboratory research facility in Europe and one of the leading laboratories on Earth, this process takes about 3 weeks from extraction point of the adult stem cell to reorganize it and insert it into the host cell. That's going to be about a 3-week time period. And sometimes 3 weeks just isn't there. So in conclusion today, I hope you understand that if you are put in that scenario that I told you about at the beginning, that you or a loved one is experiencing a life-threatening disease that there's no cure for and that you don't have many options to turn to, I hope you now will consider stem cells. And I'm not saying you have to consider embryonic stem cells if that's completely against everything you believe in, but please make sure that you consider this adult stem cell, and I hope you also consider the induced pluripotent stem cell, even though it is still in its developmental stages. Now, I hope most of us in this room are not experiencing this fact. I hope none of us are even thinking about this scenario and that we might have to use stem cells. So if you would like to take immediate action today, like I said before, this induced pluripotent is very underfunded. And any donations that you would like to make or any type of information you would like to find out, please go to serum.ca.gov, and that's the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine. They are the United States' leading stem cell research facility currently, and they're going to be your best option. Thank you.